Hey guys, welcome back to the Unity Game Dev. I'm so excited to have you here today. It's just a generally great day because Amazon just delivered my very first NVMe M.2 type solid state drive. These guys are touted to have speeds up to 3,400 megs per second versus SATA 2 or 3 solid state drives that get around 500 to 600 megs per second. They're kind of capped at that, even if the drive's faster because of the SATA interface. And this guy runs on what's called the PCIe interface that your motherboard has, which does not limit the speeds to 500, 600 megs, but you can get up to, well, with this one, 3,400 megabytes. It is the Western Digital Black, a lot of good reviews on Amazon, SN750. And it will just sit very flush with the motherboard. It won't take too much space. And I'll show you in the actual install. I'll go through everything, the whole install, and then just do a test and see if it actually speeds up my build times. I bought this partly because of the last video I did on speeding up build times related to all those cache variants that are produced, especially when you're trying to build on Android and you got those three APIs, the graphics APIs, the OpenGL 2, 3, and the Vulkan. And I just saw the major differences between running on a solid state versus a 7200 RPM spinning drive. So I thought, let's try even a faster solid state to see if that will boost my Unity builds and just, gaming in general. So the drive I'm trying to replace is my 2 terabyte drive that is currently synced with DropBox. I use that to house my Unity builds. I use it to run this, for my videos for this channel. And if something happens to my drive, it's automatically synced with Dropbox, which is cool. So yeah, but it's just getting to be a problem, the noise that it generates, a spinning drive. So I thought, let me get this 2 terabyte super fast NVMe type solid state drive that interfaces with the PCIe bus on your motherboard. I'm using the Brio desktop camera. It's attached to this arm that's clamped to my desk, so I'm gonna have to do the unboxing right here in front of you. It's a cute little box, and yeah, let's just take off this plastic. Ooh, there it is. Oops, let's go the other way around. It's so small. I mean, this is my index finger. It's about the size of my index finger. And actually I got the version that has a heatsink on it that you can see here. It's very pretty. I recommend getting the heatsink. I mean, these guys can probably get pretty hot. So yeah, make sure before you touch it, you're not statically charged. Touch piece of metal somewhere before you handle it. It feels nice. It feels nice and sturdy build. And yep, just overall it looks like a good piece of equipment. And this is the M.2 form factor, which is different than the NVMe protocol, the non-volatile protocol. The NVMe interface basically allows it to run much faster interface speeds, and the M.2 is the form factor that allows it to plug in into certain slots. So the first thing we got to do is find a M.2 slot that will work. There's one over there, but it's going to be a little tight under this big Radeon graphics card. And there's another one right there below the heatsink. So yeah, just so you can see the layout of the other drives. This is where I got my spinning drive, 7200 RPM. And this is my SATA. So this is what's giving me the 20-second bolts right now. And this guy was giving me, well, I got it down to about 5-minute Unity builds. Alright, so let me get the screw out. Before you do this, make sure you've actually unplugged your computer. Actually, I'm going to see if I can do this without unscrewing the screw all the way. So yeah, I just gotta put it in that connector at an angle, push it in. Nope, it's not gonna work. I gotta unscrew it all the way. Alright. I got my doggy playing upstairs with the kiddos. Sorry for the noise. You know what, I should have brought a magnetic screwdriver. It will make my life much easier. Anyways. So, wow, so that M.2 connector is rated at 32 gigs per second. That's fast. And this drive goes to, is it 32? Yeah, 32 gigs. Oh my god. And this the SN750 that I'm putting in, it can handle up to 3,200 megs per second. So it's pretty fast. I have to just make sure it's positioned just right. So everything flush. Okay, I got that screw in somehow or another. I got it in. It's very important on these motherboards not to over tighten the screws. This can be very fragile. Wow, look at that. It's so flush, right? I mean, you look at these big hard drives from, you know, this is a 500 gig SATA drive. And then I got a 2 terabyte spinning drive. Now you got this 2 terabyte SSD. So I ended up having to install my new SSD on the other M.2 slot because the one I originally installed it on disabled 4 of my SATA ports that my older SSDs were running on. So I moved it over to the other slot that shares with a PCI 4 bus. Okay, we now have the new SSD physically installed on the motherboard and all my other drives are still working correctly. Now it's time to initiate it with disk management. To do that, click on the magnifying glass, type disk management, and you'll see this little pop-up, create and format hard disk partitions. We click on that. And when it first comes up, you'll get this little message. You must initialize a disk before local disk manager can access it. I'm going to select GPT as the partition style as it is newer and more robust. Click OK. So disk 0 is the new drive that I just installed. It is listed as unallocated space, so just right click on it, select new simple volume, and the new simple volume wizard will appear. Let's click next. Simple volume size in megabyte. The megabytes, that's the highest I can go, 1900. Click next. Assign the following drive letter G. Let me see. Yeah, G will work. Choose whether you want to format this volume, and if so, what settings do you want to use. I'm just going to go with the default settings of NTFS. And the volume label, let's call this gaming. So I know it's going to be the super fast one. For format, quick format. Yep, that's fine. Everything looks good. Finish. Done. And the gaming G already shows up. Awesome, that's it. Now it's time to test out how fast this guy is with my Unity builds. So after spending $350 and spending a day on installing that hard drive, let's see if it was worth it. Will my Unity apps open up faster on the drive? Will my builds be faster? Let's check it out. First, I'm going to open up the project on my F drive, and that's the solid state drive running at around 500 megs per second. And I'm going to time it on my iPhone clock. It took 1 minute and 12 seconds to load from my F drive. Now let's run the project off the G drive, and that's running the new SSD that can have speeds up to 3,200 megs per second or 3.2 gigabytes per second. Done. Wow, just under 20 seconds. So huge improvement. 1 minute 12 versus 20 seconds. So yeah, I mean, that will definitely help with my workflow. So now it's time to test out a build on Android on the new drive. I've already tried it out on my old SATA 3 SSD and I got it down to 20 seconds, which is super fast, but I had to disable OpenGL ES2 and Vulkan and only run it on OpenGL ES3. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to delete the OpenGL ES2 from my graphics APIs. So I only have OpenGL ES3 in my graphics API selected. Let's go to File, Build and Run. Yeah, so just under 20 seconds, around 18 seconds to compile the cache variants to finish it up. So a slight improvement. I think once you get it to these, you get into the teens for the seconds, it's very difficult to notice a big difference with a compilation. So since I've already gotten my build down to 20 seconds on my old SSD, I couldn't really notice a big difference with the new drive. I think at this point it will be more optimizing my CPU, and I don't really care too much about getting it faster than 20 seconds. But I have to say, just opening up the Unity, 20 seconds versus 72 seconds, that's huge for me. And I'm sure other things will be much faster, like when you're importing assets, and just in general, the workflow should be much faster. So yeah, I recommend getting the fastest SSD possible if you can, especially if you can get a bigger one, like a 2 terabyte one that you can maybe sync with your Dropbox. That way you can keep all your Unity projects backed up, especially if you're not using something like GitHub to do source control. And Unity is not really, doesn't work that well with GitHub yet. It's getting better, but it's not there just yet. So I use Dropbox for kind of, backing it up, and this will automatically do it for me. If you're running into slowdowns with a super fast SSD that's hooked up to Dropbox, I recommend pausing your Dropbox while doing your Unity development and just turning it on when you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, this was a lot of fun for me. I love, playing with hardware and software and trying to get my Unity environment as fast as possible. I'm probably going to buy a new CPU next, upgrade from my i5 to i7 or something similar. If you liked the video, please give a like, subscribe to my channel. It'll really help me a lot, and turn on that bell. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.